Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petite to Queen's Claim Your Career Crown podcast. I'm your host, Lynn, and today I'm joined by our wonderful guest, Ryan Harbinson. And today we're going to be talking about why greed slays your growth and what's the better way to success. Ryan has more than 15 years of marketing and sales experience under his business development belt. He's a jack of all trades player with graphic design, networking, and management skills. As a former COO, Ryan has built a large network throughout the country in every category. Ryan is on the top of the latest trends in this fast-paced recruiting world. And bottom line, if you want to see your company grow and find the right people, you need to connect with Ryan. And a few favorite words that Ryan uses to describe himself, it's connector, husband, never a bad day, games in any form, go-giver, shaking hands, and building brands. So Ryan, thank you so much for being here. We're really thrilled to have this discussion today.
Thanks, Lynn. I appreciate it. I'm very excited to be here as well. It's really awesome. Thanks.
All right. Well, and for those of you who are joining us for that very first time, make sure you don't miss a single episode of Claim Your Career Crown by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. And if you love what we're doing and you love the show, please take that extra moment and give us a 5-star review. We'd very much appreciate it. So, Ryan, you have had all this incredible experience. And, and where you are right now, I'd really like to hear your sort of a little bit of backstory and what inspired you to get started with recruitment.
Yeah, sure. So, my background is a little different than most, as you said. So I'm really a branding and marketing software guy. I started a company when I was 24 with two of my buddies, and we started a software development studio making video games. So we actually have 2 games published on Nintendo DS. We are a certified Nintendo developer for many years. We were making iPad games and iPhone games. We were actually one of the first games to be published on the iPad store when the iPhone and the iPad were 2 different marketplaces. That's how long ago this was, right? So, we started the studio and had a lot of fun doing that. I was COO of the company, created a lot of brand awareness for the company, and worked, the early days of LinkedIn. I've been on the platform for about 15 years. So I was a very early adopter of LinkedIn. And because we were aware of who we wanted to get in front of and utilizing the, LinkedIn's amazing abilities to find the right people, we were able to get meetings with like Nintendo and Activision and Microsoft and Sony. And we were this small little studio in the middle of nowhere in New Jersey. And we were out at some of the biggest shows in California meeting with these people just through the power of the network, really. And, we grew that company and it branched off into some other, iterations. So we ran a small little nerd con called South Jersey Geek Fest. It was kind of the celebration of everything geeky from cars to comics and kind of everything in between. And then kind of took that same model and opened up a kind of a storefront that was helping fund the software business. We were selling board games. So we buy, sell, and trade board games, much like GameStop. And if you remember the old Funko Land from back in the day, one of my favorites. And we took that model, and we started selling board games, new and used, Monopoly, Scrabble, Yahtzee, Sorry. And that was helping fund the business in the back. And, the original store was about 80 square feet. And we had about 600 square feet in the back making games. Flash forward like 5 years, and we wound up growing the store to about 5,000 square feet and turned it into a full-fledged retail store that was doing board games and video games and action figures and comic books and everything. So, when you kind of have your goals set out, and sometimes things take off more than you expect, and as we always say, adapt or die is the name of the game, the business world, and you got to know how to kind of go with the flow and see what the trends look like and see what the customers, really want you to keep going with. And it was great to see that kind of organically grow. We organically grew the show from about 600 people to about 3,000. We raised about, close to like 5 tons of food for the South Jersey Food Bank as well. So we really like worked with the community to actually help organically grow the business. So pretty amazing.
Well, that's amazing. Well, and also that last bit of the story, you were really tying in to our topic today. And so I'd really like you to, give us some of your insights on this, all of the knowledge that you've acquired about why does greed destroy your growth and what is the better way to success?
Yeah, I mean, so after being with the company for a long time, I exited out. I'm still friends with everybody, and I moved into the branding and marketing space and was really working in like print and mail and like marketing with design, and then moved into kind of more of the branding and campaign space, running like full campaigns for different companies outside here on the East Coast. And what happens is that I feel like the old ways of the business development in the sales world of walking into an event and flinging your cards and going, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? And they walk away and I got a business card in my hand. I'm like, what's your name? And they're already gone. They've already left. That's the fly in, pound the phones, have no goal other than trying to close the sale. And we talked about this before, as I said, which is kind of how this whole topic came to be, which is, low and slow, patience over greed. It's the name of the game, right? It's not going to happen overnight. But what happens is that you have to build that network. You have to build that trust with the people that are with you, right? And it's not always about, closing a deal. I've made thousands of introductions in my career here. And the majority of those introductions are just I feel like these people should know each other. It's going to help them both grow their business. It makes sense for them. If you come across something that's relevant to the industry that I'm in, I hope you think of me. If you don't give me any introductions in return, that's not why I did it. I want to help you grow. And as you grow with these people, right, you grow with this network. I over the last 10 years, right? So I'm 40 now. And like when I really started the gears started moving at around 30 years old, I started to develop these relationships with these people that were, entry level or junior people in the companies. And now, flash forward 10, 12 years later, we've all grown, stayed connected, have grown our networks together. And those people are now C-suite individuals, regional vice presidents of major corporations that I can just call up and be like, hey, what's going on? What's the situation? But if other people try to get a meeting or time with that person, they're way too busy to just try to call them out of the blue. So that low and slow mentality really helps you grow the network, grow the business, and grow the trust of people that you're going to be seeing a lot more than some of the people that you see in your family.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And the key is that you're building that relationship. I mean, that's one of the things that, there's always time in the green room and we've met before, but it's that relationship and that's what stands the test of time. And it is that opportunity to grow that network and receive those introductions to people who need your product or service. And that long-term relationship, because even if they're not in the market for something themselves, they will know people who do, or it's not now, but later at a different time. And so when you're working on building out your network, I'd love to hear how you do this and what kind of process to use. I know you mentioned LinkedIn, and you and I also discussed the fact that LinkedIn has become like this gigantous churn of spam in so many different ways. So how do you use it so that it's actually effective?
Sure. So I think it's a couple of things, right? So I think it's the physical and the digital hybrid working together, right? I think that's the most important. And I think you need to understand, a lot of people go, I hear networking. It's all about networking. They're like, I don't know what to do or where to start, right? And I think what it is that you to realize what the levels are, and I've kind of broken it down to like a couple different or kind of tiers, right? So like when you first start, like if you're the head of the baking sale for your local church, there's opportunities to network with all the people that are running those organizations. If you're in the, anything with your schools, that's great opportunities. Sports are really great. I know a guy who's in his kids are into hockey, and they're always doing games and practices, and he's closing deals in the stands by getting to know the people that whose kids are on the ice. Yeah. So it's not about always like joining organizations, but the organizations are a great place to go. Chambers, associations, all that good stuff, right? So I always say it kind of breaks down to a couple categories, right? So you've got your town chambers. That's a great place to start. That's a good way to build your base, right? Because a lot of those people in those organizations are going to be integrated into other organizations as well, right? Then there's kind of like your county chambers or organizations, right? Then there are your regionals, and then your states. And that's kind of the way that you can work your way up. The other thing too is it's also understanding that when you show up to these events, okay, and if you don't know anybody, okay, A, you're not the only one, all right? B, these people that run these organizations love that you've never come to their organization, and they want to tell you why they're the best, okay? So what I tell everybody is this. Two strategies that I always use, and I use it still to this day. One, I'm always looking for anybody with a badge that has the logo of the organization on their badge. An ambassador, the administrator, the whatever it is, right? And you walk up, you go, "Hey, I've never been here before. I would love to learn more about it." And they go, "Let me tell you why we're the greatest." And they are going to tell you everything that you want to know. The other thing that I love to do too is that a lot of these people that are there, they know each other, right? So find a group of like 3 or 4 people that look like they're having a conversation. Literally just wait for like a little beat in the conversation and walk up and just go, "Hey, I don't really know anybody. This is my first time here." They'll help you. They want to bring you in and tell you why this organization is great, and also help you with growing the network in the room, right? So how does that translate onto the internet as well, right? So part of it is understanding who your audience is, right? Because it's not always just LinkedIn, okay? Each one of the platforms is tailored to a different audience, right? Okay. So we've got Instagram, we've got TikTok, we've got YouTube, we've got LinkedIn, we've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've got Snapchat, and the list goes on and on and on, right? So it's all about understanding the audience that you want to get in front of and where they live and what's the story that you're trying to tell these people, okay? So the way I look at it is this, is you can do a handful of things, right? So you can create content that is being pushed out there every day, right? In order to do that, you're going to have to create a content calendar. Okay. A content calendar is very simple. It can be as easy as one different thing a day, but it's like the old TV guides from back in the day, right? Like Mondays, I tend to do this. On Tuesdays, I post this. On Wednesdays, I like to do this, right? And it's finding out how you can integrate what your knowledge is, what your industry is, but also not selling people. Right? No one wants to see like, hey, big deals, 10%. Call me today and I'll give you 10%. Nobody cares about that. You're never going to get any traction on that stuff. Now, there's a difference between educating people and selling people, right? So I want to educate people so they know what it is that I do, which is why I always say, first to mind, live in the feed. Okay. Yeah. That's the name of the game online, right? So we can do that in a couple of different ways. We can either create content that goes out based on our content calendar that we're doing, or we can live in the comments. Content is king, engagement is queen. All right. So if you're lost on the content to create, get involved in the conversation, right? Yeah. So this works great on LinkedIn, right? Because what happens is that the more that I'm involved in the conversation online, I'm hoping that people are going to see my stuff and I'm going to drive traffic to my profile page. Okay. So now if my profile is done correctly, where it's quick and dirty, everything is short and sweet and to the point because nobody reads anymore. Remember, your headline is not your current position on LinkedIn. It's how you help people or what kind of customers that you're looking to attract, right? Your bio is like 4 sentences. Okay. Your experience pages are like 2 to 3 sentences. And if you need to add more to like really show what you do, bullet points, 10 words or less. Nobody reads. Keep it short and sweet. That's just the way it works. I hate to break the news. The old days of like 2 pages of your bio, they're not going to read it. They're just not. They want to come in and come out. Remember,
Yeah.
great traffic on a website is 25 seconds. Okay. So think of it that way. The best content on TikTok is 7 seconds. Okay. This is the world that we live in nowadays, everybody. So it's just quick and to the point. So we're getting involved in the comments, right? So what we're doing is that when people are posting content, right, we are liking, commenting, or sharing, or all the above. Okay. So I live by the comments on comments. That's a great way to get involved in the conversation. Also, sharing people's content out is great, right? So I can share somebody's stuff that I'm either connected to or not connected to, right? But I'm never going to do a blind share. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write a little bit of text on top of what I'm sharing out, right? So I'm sharing and showing the love to my network that I'm seeing all the time, right? Because I want to stay top of mind all the time, right? So when they hear recruiting, they hear staffing, they automatically think of me because I'm all over the internet and I'm telling everybody what's going on and I'm sharing everybody's stuff out and I'm letting everybody get more eyeballs. Because LinkedIn's system is different than the other social media platforms. When I share, like, or comment on someone that I'm connected to or someone I'm even not connected to, that appears in my feed as if it was a post. Okay. So if I'm connected to Lynn, or Lynn is a second connection, which means we have people in common, but we're not connected. If I share your stuff out, anybody that sees your stuff, that's a second connection, now sees your content in my feed as if they're connected to you. Right. So you're creating this ecosystem of getting in front of other people's networks by sharing their content out there. And it really helps drive traffic to your page. It really helps create awareness of who you are. And it also helps your network out, which is the best. The other thing, too, is that we got to remember that there are people that spend millions of dollars every year to create content. The Tony Robbins of the world, the Gary V's of the world, all the Shark Tank people, and the list goes on and on and on. They want you to share their content. Okay. And I say it all the time, utilize other people's content as your own. You can be a thought leader in any industry by taking the top thought leaders and putting your 2 cents on top of something that they spent 10 grand on a production day to create in their home office. So they want that content in there. And then the rabbit hole continues, right? So now what I'm doing is I know that the people that are watching this person's content are probably the people I want to attract to my page to check me out. So now I'm going to like, comment, and share in their comments pages, which is usually hundreds of comments. And now I'm liking a bunch of people and I'm having conversations with people that I don't know. And I'm trying to grab their eyeballs onto me. And now I'm appearing in their feed as if we were connected.
Well, that is really good advice, Ryan. Thank you so much. I mean, so much of that is new. I mean, of course, I've always known about the like, know, and share, but that the other reasons why this is so powerful, was brilliantly stated and showcased. So, and it really brings us back to, why is greed versus success a challenge, or literally it's more urgent than ever, to pivot away from that spamming people.
It really is, because people are inundated with it all the time, and you're not going to get any traction, because here's the situation, right? We touched on this before, right? It's like if I get a spam text message, an email, a LinkedIn message, or whatever it is, I'm going to tell you right now, the odds that I don't know 2 or 3 people that do what you're trying to get me to spam me in is pretty ridiculous, because I'm going to go to my network before I'm even going to go to somebody that I've never met before in my life that has no relationship and is obviously sending the same message to everybody all the
time. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, you know right away, because you just go into this pattern and they just keep sending you stuff. And it's just like this ridiculous whole automated drip. And it's just, as far as for me, it's just like they're literally dead to me. And that's the one thing I wish I could really segregate some of the messages better within LinkedIn. But now, and it's for people who are, going like, well, that's this, throw it against the wall and see what sticks. That's what everybody's doing. Why is it that people find themselves being held back from this model that honestly it doesn't work? I mean, the percentage and the effort that's going in for what the return is. And why is that really related to that issue of greed versus growth and the blind spot that's there? What do you see as to why people seem to be stuck at, being the lemming following the crowd over the cliff?
I think part of it is that we have multiple generations all working together, right? And that's part of the old mindset of I got the phone book 3 days before everybody else, and I call the company at 7:15 because the gatekeeper's not there, and I get the CEO on the phone, and I'm like, "Good afternoon, sir, madam. Just so you know, our prices have never been lower," and it's just that's the way it worked, right? Everybody was just pounding the phones and going nuts, right? And there's a crazy generation gap we've got going on. We've got 4 generations working together, right? But it really comes down into like 3. So we've got like young baby boomers, we've got old Gen X, we've got young Gen X, old millennial. That's kind of the crew together, and then we've got young millennial, and we got the Zoomer Z kids over here, right? And what's happened is my generation in the middle is like the translator between both sides. So like one's trying to do one and one's trying to do the other. And we're like, I'll translate. Stop. Don't talk to them. They don't know. No, relax. They don't know what you're talking about either. Right. So I think it's this weird like collaboration of multiple generations kind of utilizing old ways and new ways. And it's kind of what we said before. You have to kind of take that hybrid approach. Right. And it comes to the culture mentality too. Like culture is so important now more than ever. And I think what people need to realize is that to get away from the greed factor, right, of this quick sale, you have to realize that, especially over the last couple of years, we've created a new currency, and it's called accountability. And that's what it comes down to. And accountability is the new currency. So it doesn't matter how you're doing things, but certain things work better certain ways than the other. Like, instead of sending someone a spam message, right? So if someone wants to come reach out to me and they think, hey, this guy might be a good client to work with, right? It's just going to take a little bit longer than trying to just send this message out. So what I do is I find people that I want to get involved with, maybe that are third connection that I have zero relationship with. Nobody I know knows them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on their LinkedIn page. Okay. And instead of connecting with someone I don't know and be like, oh, I see that you're in this industry and we have saved people money every year. We should connect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go on their page and I'm going to follow them. Right. So when I follow someone, it allows me to get their activity in my feed as if we were actually connected. Right. Okay. That's 1. 2, I'm going to go down into their activity. And what am I going to do? I'm going to like, comment, and share, or all the above, on all the content that they're posting. So within a matter of like 3 minutes, they get a notification that I viewed their page. They get a notification that I followed them. And then I'm not only liking and commenting on stuff, I'm sharing out their content and writing like a thing like, great insight from Neil on this thing. It's really great. And send it out. Boom. And all of a sudden they're going to go, who is this person? And it's going to drive them to my profile. So now that I see that they checked out my page. So now all of a sudden I took this ice cold relationship and now just a little lukewarm. And if I continue to see their content come through my page, I'm going to like it, I'm going to comment it. And then maybe after a month, I'll send him, a connect that says, hey man, love your content. We'd love to connect and see how we can help each other. And he either accepts it or he doesn't. So it just takes a little bit longer. You just have to be patient.
Yeah. No, I always feel like you have to have a real reason of connecting. And that's one of the things that you've just really walked us through, that roadmap of the reason you're connecting. And definitely when you do the connect, I always, unless I accidentally hit it like I'm too tired or something, but I always say why. And it's why. Their why. Why does it matter to them that I'm asking them to connect? What's the reason? And so it's one of the things that really does set you apart, that it's actually a human being who's sent the message to them to connect, and B, it allows you to begin that very first baby step of the relationship and of rapport, because you've given them a reason. And so Yeah, I think that one of the things that our audience always really likes is to hear from you, around this topic. What's something that they could do today, tomorrow, this next week
Yeah.
to choose the better way to success?
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. I think one of the most important things that people really overlook is spending a little bit of time and really putting in effort on your profile page on LinkedIn. Remember, your resume can only be like a page now. Like, people don't want to read 8-page resumes. Your LinkedIn can be as long as you want. So throw on Infinity War. It's like 3 hours and watch Thanos do his thing and work on your LinkedIn page. And when the movie's done, then you're like, okay, great. That's the first thing, because what the strategies that we're going to like integrate over time, it's all geared around letting people know what you do. And if our page has got no banner up top, or it's got like this bad picture of like somebody's arm cut off in the picture, like, just spend that little time, right? So that's one. Okay. Two, I would go through my connections. And if you don't know the face, delete them. Because when we're going to put this content out, we want the content to be seen by people that are relevant in our area, people that we actually know, and people that will most likely become either a customer or a networking partner at some point, right? So don't worry, they don't get notifications that you deleted them. It doesn't say like Lynn is no longer friends with Ryan, and I'm like, Lynn, what's going on? Why did you delete me? That's so rude. So that stuff doesn't happen. Okay. So that's two. And then the third thing I would do, I would just start slow, right? I know it's overwhelming. And before you know it, you're trying to post on YouTube, and then you're on Facebook, and then it's like, I have too many things and my day's gone. Just start slow. Take 10 minutes in the morning before you kind of get into like the day, right? And just share the love. It's the easiest place to start. So turn it on, jump on LinkedIn, take 10 to 15 minutes, and just like, comment, and share. Just do a little bit. And that's it. And you don't have to do anything else. And like, turn LinkedIn off, and then that's your day for the day. And then as you start doing it, maybe you are in accounting and finance. Like, that's my world right now. So we're staffing with accounting and finance. So like, maybe you see some good articles on accounting and finance that you want to share out to your audience. So just copy the link, put it in there, and share that out. Oh, look at you. Now you're sharing the love, and you're giving a little insight on your industry, right? Then maybe go through and see who are kind of the people that are these celebrity people in your industry. You can follow them. And then when their content comes through your page in the morning when you're going through, maybe you share that out. And it just slowly, organically integrates. And then you can start doing your own stuff, making your own videos, doing your own, if you feel comfortable. If you don't, you could live a whole life on LinkedIn just sharing everybody else's stuff. I've
Yeah.
seen it done.
Yeah.
So
All right. Brilliant. Thank you so much. And now I want to ask you, is there anything you wish I had asked you about this topic?
um I would say last thing is, and just kind of touch on it, is really know your audience, right? And part of that is understanding who's on what platform and where, and the content is different between each one, right? It's like ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC, right? So like each one of those channels has a different world, right? Fox is kind of like action drama, NBC's got a little drama comedy. ABC's more family. CBS is more like murder TV with some comedy, right? So it's a different audience. It's the same deal. So choose the platforms that you feel are relevant to the industry that you're in, and only pick 3 and stick with 3. Because anything more than that is a full-time job.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the truth. Absolutely. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for sharing why greed slays your growth and what's the better way to success. I know our audience is going to want to know more about you and where they can find you.
Great. So, I'm on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect. And I have a bunch of other videos that I've done with other podcast groups on my YouTube page. And I'm with Robert Half, staffing and recruiting and accounting and finance out of the Philadelphia office. And it's really great to be here, and I do appreciate the time. So.
All right. Well, we will make sure that Ryan's YouTube link and LinkedIn is right below. So he's one click away
There
so
you
that you
go.
can connect with Ryan, just as he's been talking about on today's show. And thank everyone for tuning in, because this has been such an informative discussion with Ryan. And if you have thoughts or ideas that you'd like to share, please leave us a comment down below. We love hearing your thoughts. Or if you have a question and would like to suggest a topic for discussion, you can email us at jointheconversation@petitequeen.com. And to stay current on all of our insightful advice, our breakthrough advantages, and never miss an episode of Claim Your Career Crown, you can sign up for our weekly Wisdoms newsletter, and we will love to see you there and keep you in the loop. And everyone who tuned in, thank you so much again. And Ryan, I really appreciate your coming on and talking about this very important topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time, and hopefully maybe we help some people out, really start pushing that out there. Remember, content is king, engagement is queen.